A very good evening to each one of you. Welcome to Citam YT Nation, a place for transformation and growth. My name is Nicole Elsie. I'm your host for today, and I am not alone. I am with my friend and co-panelist.
I'm a co-host.
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 Atatuambia jina, and then you just get to know him more.
Yeah. So, hi guys. I know I'm not new. If you have been rewatching, I am Sean Pablo, and yeah, nimeswap roles.
Stop.
But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was your week? Sijakuona in a minute.
Yeah, it's been long,
It's been
Cindy.
so long, yeah.
It's been long. My week has been okay. Anytime exam, so watu wengi wataelewa.
Sa unasema okay. Si useme hata is it going well ama
Okay. Technically, it's not going well because wapaswa kusomea, and then from there you're like, mbona nafanya hii course, and then you're like, it's the Lord who is directing me.
Yeah.
Then you're like, I must put in effort. Then
Yeah.
the very next minute you're just having a breakdown. But yeah, it's just been that coaster for the week.
Sorry, but I do hope you're okay.
I mean, niko tu sawa, niko freshi.
That's very nice. So today our topic is family trauma.
Tan tan tan.
It's a very difficult topic, but I'm sure we can handle it.
Tunaweza handle. But none of us breaks down.
Oi, mimi nitalia. Someone should get me tissues. But anyway, today we are basing our topic on the story of Joseph and Jacob and Esau. So we'll start with Joseph.
Joseph.
First, before we even go there, what are the forms of family trauma you know, ama the ones you've experienced?
The
forms of family trauma.
Oh, forms.
Yeah.
Okay, whenever trauma comes to mind, I think of wounds. And CRT physical wounds, I think about emotional wounds. And that, I think that is one form of, I can say, trauma that many people actually don't know that they have. Wako tu like, yeah, I'm just doing okay, niko sawa. But then there is that underlying emotion that you've actually been hurt. Then I think so there is also experience trauma, whereby you've actually undergone through some experience that has left you scarred. And from there you're left with, okay, if this happens again, I'm gone. Like, you can't even think beyond that experience. And I don't really think whether kuna ingine, unless probably you could also comment. Nimeanza kuwa host.
Ama ulifanya psychology na sijui.
I did psychology as a unit.
Oh.
Yeah, as a unit. So, okay, siati nimeifanya, but wait, content imeanza kukuja. Traumas, no, that's personality disorders, but yeah. Yeah, there's personality disorder. Then I think so there's also PTSD.
PTSD.
That also contributes towards family trauma. But I think generally family trauma is caused by family, parents, siblings, shosho, guka.
Yeah.
So basically people you live around with.
Domestic violence in a qualify hapo?
Yes.
In which form?
I am a victim of that.
Don't cry.
But yeah, domestic violence is a form of trauma because, okay, nifungue roho.
I was just going to ask you if you've experienced, so fungua tu roho.
Yeah, so I think so it trauma applies, or I can't really speak for everyone, but I think so domestic violence to me it hit when I was young. And it was, I guess, unimaginable that it could happen. But then I'm like, okay, so it did happen. And I think so traumas can also shape people.
Yeah.
Inaweza shape in a certain type of way that inaweza affect positively or negatively. Yeah, I don't, okay, you know what? It may affect positively because my mentality is that the family that is going to come in the future, amen. They wouldn't really have to face this. Like, they wouldn't really have to face what I faced. You see? So that is on the positive side. On the negative side, you could actually build up a wall against the person who has actually caused the violence. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. So now
Iko tu sawa.
we'll just get into the story of Joseph.
Yeah.
And what do you think was going through his mind? Because he was betrayed, he was separated from his family. Like, I feel like if ningekuwa Joseph,
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Ay, guys, really? Like, kwani
Na hata dad
hamnipendi?"
hajakuja kunitafuta. Ni
Man,
sawa. Ni
Sasa,
sawa.
sasa rikoti nikitokasirikia mtu. Surely. Like, what's going on?
And that's against 12 of your siblings. Imagine.
Yeah.
12. 12.
Hey,
Okay. I only have one sibling,
Same.
but 12. 12. No, there were 11, sindio? He was the 12th.
Yeah.
He was the 12th, yeah?
Yeah, so 11.
But hey, you have 11 brothers and na wanakuambia, boss, hiyo koti tunachukua.
Hey.
But I think I'll talk about it in two different perspectives. One, his response, and what we think he went through. So what we think what went through his mind was, enyewe hadi hao watu wamenisikizi. Imagine you're literally prophesying to your brothers that mimi, I dreamt that I saw the moon. I mean, story ya the stars and that the stars they're aligning and vitu kama hizo. They were repeated dreams with the same theme. Imagine prophesying that to your brothers na unawaambia literally one day you guys will bow down to me. You see, adi me as one of the brothers I'd be like, sasa umse anasema nini? Unasema
Enda
nini?
home.
Weishia. Then one time my brothers conspire against me and I'm like, ama sipendwi. Na hata dad hasemi kitu. And you're like, see, I'm alone in this world. There's no one who actually thinks. That's what many people say. There's no one who understands me. So Joseph hakuwa anaeleweka. And what would have been going through his mind now when sasa his brothers wanakuja kumkuta and tupe hiyo koti. Tunakuingiza kwa well, tunakuuza. I mean, your own flesh and blood.
Yeah.
They're selling you. And then, not to top it all off, you're going to be sold as a slave. You're going to work for an Egyptian. You as a Hebrew. You're going to work for an Egyptian.
Yeah.
On top of that, unanyolewa nywele.
Kwanza ulinyoa nywele. We.
Yeah, nilinyoa nywele. For those of you who don't know, I had a bun. It's the Lord. It's the Lord.
No. Sa imagine if Joseph angekuwa Gen Z.
Angezua.
Sindio?
To be very honest, angezua.
Because I feel like your separation is, the betrayal is massive.
It's real.
Like ningekaa tu hivi niseme, wa? Nimefanyiwa hivyo.
Exactly.
I'd be like, kaeni huko. Wacha tu niende.
Best case scenario, nitoroke home.
Yeah. Because
like, kama mnielewi, I bounce. You see, but now let us look at his response. Now, for everything that happened against him, he still chose to stick to God.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I like and I heard was that time doesn't heal wounds. Time with the right person heals wounds. You see. So one thing I do know is that, yes, him being human, Joseph being human, he must have had emotions.
Yeah.
And staying in that well, in the dark, Adi, you come get fished out by some trader.
You're alone. And it's
trust
cold.
me, many people could have gone mad.
Yeah.
Many people could have given up. Many people could have had suicidal thoughts. But what did Joseph do instead? He decided to stay with God. The right person. He decided to stay with God. He decided to spend time still meditating. Because even if after his prophecy, you see, he prophesied and he still chose to put his trust in the character of God. Many times we tend to give up by what is happening physically.
Yeah.
And we're like, you know what? Adi God hataelewa. If God understood the emotions of Joseph, why did he allow him to actually stay there? You see, it's all about our response towards these wounds. You see, and even after he was in prison, definitely God alimuongelesha akamwambia, by the way, I am uplifting you. There is a time that is coming that I'm going to uplift you. I can't really necessarily say the timeline he stayed in prison, but when he got called to actually interpret Pharaoh's dreams, that was the time he took the opportunity. Definitely God alimwambia, by the way, now I'm giving you this the liberty to actually now go and prophesy. I mean, go give the interpretation of Pharaoh's dreams. You see, so there is that working that God has in us that we merely have to accept. You see, one thing I understand is that emotions are volatile, very volatile. These things can just spark. They can just spark up. One day, Joseph anaweza kuwa ameamka in prison and he's like, God enyewe, you're not doing anything. Wewe ufanyi kitu.
So misidai.
Exactly. So me enyewe wewe tafuta tu mtu mwingine, mi siwezi fanya hii. You see. And then he just decides even if that opportunity ya ku prophesy, I mean not prophesy.
Interpret.
Joseph was a prophet. Interpret. To interpret Pharaoh's dreams, angesema, you know what, tafuta mse mwingine, mi sitaki. Juu umeniacha tu hapa. What am I supposed to do? You see. But he still trusted in the character of God. You see. And that's one thing that many of us don't really understand, that if God is our maker and he puts these emotions in us, the right emotions. And
kwani kuna wrong emotion?
Yeah.
Gani?
The emotions, okay, these negative emotions.
Sema hivyo.
Kata.
Okay, ziko.
Exactly.
Ziko.
Kuna negative emotions. If he puts these emotions in us and we tend to develop wrong emotions without trusting in his character, then we end up in places and in spaces that that we weren't supposed to be there in the first place, you see. And now even looking in Joseph's story, one thing he did is that he was at the right place at the right time. Sindio? Too bad he was at the right place at the right time. No, wrong place. No, yeah, wrong place, right time. And his brothers were come, well, you know what, we're ganging up against him. He still, like he knew that, anyway, this is still God's plan. There is still something greater that is coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though these dreams zilioka, he still did not look at what he felt. He did not say that I am not being understood. You see?
Yeah. Also feel like God will always give us something we can handle. I feel like he was the right person to handle that situation.
Exactly.
Because imagine Pablo kama ungekuwa hapo. Imagine I'd just throw hands like Nicole. Mnitoe hapa. Sai.
Exactly. Plus, especially people who suffer from claustrophobia.
Hiyo ni ile mashimo.
Confined space. Yeah, confined spaces. Me, I know I suffer from that. You put me in a closed room.
Talia.
I will freak out. Trust me, I will freak out.
Pablo kona miaka ngapi?
To be very honest, me, I just hate enclosed spaces. Yeah, that is why I sometimes ikangi home. Get it? No, I'm joking.
I hope your mother is watching.
Hi, Mom.
I hope your mother is watching. Anyway, from your story, Joseph.
Yeah.
What is the hope Christians, or rather everyone, can get from this particular story?
Yeah.
Just around our topic, the family trauma.
One thing we have to understand is that people in our families have different characters. And there's still a work of art that God is trying to make perfect, you see. And one thing I like about families is that we have a specific level of tolerance. Tolerance. One thing I can say is that I've had a bit of friction with my own sister. But one thing I've come to understand is that these emotions that we tend to build as trauma, or these traumas that we tend to have either through anything that happens around family, is that, yes, some of them cannot be justified. Some of them are unimaginable. And I'm sure people have way more difficult stories than even what we have ever imagined. Many people have different stories. Even I also have my story that I'm also going through. But the fact still remains that these people, they are your family. And God has given us the grace to live with them. Yeah. So even the whole aspect, and Najwa, this is going to sting a lot of people, is that God has still given us that chance, that opportunity, that space in our hearts to actually forgive these people. You see, He has given us that space. Even there are times ushaifikiria by the way, I'm gonna forgive umse. But then you're like,
but he did.
Exactly. I'm still gassed with anger, you see.
Yeah.
But the overall truth is that time doesn't heal wounds. time with the right person heals wounds. And I'm not saying people. Person, mind you, person. The right person. The right person.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also feel like kwanza nimekuwa traumatized juzi.
Fungua roho.
Ooh.
Let us hear.
Okay, it's I don't know, it's of course it's personal.
Yeah.
But like I was like what's going on? I was so confused. I was like okay, it happened a long time ago, but I was like mbona kila mtu akuniambia mnangoja miaka sijui ngapi ndo mniambie. And I was like kwani nilikuwa nimepotea ama ni nini? And I was like I asked God mbona umekubali nijue sahi, because I was very angry. I can't tell you how I was very angry. And then when I get angry, I will not talk to anyone.
You don't have those shaking angers, like
I'll just keep quiet and just
and close.
Shrink.
Okay.
Shrink.
Yeah.
So people at home are like, kwani Nicole, what's wrong? Kwani umeumiza roho? I'm like, kwani but sitawaambia nimeumiza, but you don't have to know.
Yeah.
And then I just have to your kushrink is not really healthy, but it's a coping mechanism for many people. So healthy, but
actually I can give you an analogy of that. Think of it as a bottle. So you've heard many people talking about bottling up emotions, but now think of it this way. Probably ukona akachupa, sawa? And now ujaze maji chafu, si ndio? Fill it until the brim, sawa? Then close the top very tight and then keep on filling this dirty water. What will happen?
Ngoja, tumesema tuko na chupa,
tunajaza maji
chafu
until the brim, alafu you actually close it, but now you still have a kapai still filling in this dirty water. What will happen? It explodes. Exactly. Oopsie. You see, constant filling of this bottle with dirty water, it explodes. So one way or another, when you bottle up these emotions, they will come and reflect one way or the other. Not right now. You'd be okay. You'd be like, nimefunikia mchanga. Mimi niko tu sawa. But one way or another, they will come up and you will have to sort them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Right about now, we are taking a break. Don't go far. We are still here. So, see you when we get back.
Rafiki soul is the promise of a hand that reaches and goes beyond what angaza tumaini kote. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. Rafiki soul is a promise of a hand that reaches and goes beyond what angaza tumaini kote. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. Rafiki msoul.
Friends of Hope, keeping hope alive.
Thank you so much for staying with us. And we are back even as we speak on our topic today, which is family trauma. So, Pablo, now we switch to the story of Jacob and Esau.
Yeah.
Ulipenda kitu walifanyana hawa?
One thing naweza sema is that how can you sell your birthright surely? For food. For food. You're selling your birthright for food.
Okay, your time maybe. Your time kuteseka haikuwa.
No. You as a firstborn, you've actually, you're big and strong. Sawa? Kona nywele hadi kwa mgongo. And you're actually going to hunt. Sawa? Wezi kula nyama choma?
Si bibi alikuwa vegan.
How is Esau vegan surely?
Unajua unaweza hunt for other people. Like, unaweza enda hunting. Maybe you're my brother.
Hunt for other people. Okay, one thing we know is that Esau was actually Isaac's favorite, if I'm not wrong. And Jacob alikuwa na stick na mom so much. He was mama's boy, sindio? Aye. And number 2 is that you're not sensitive to God's heart enough that you would understand your brother is actually going to steal your blessings.
Yeah.
Like literally. You saw the blessings that Jacob alipewa. Imagine those were meant for Esau. Hizo zote.
Oops.
Hizo zote. But let me okay. The interesting part about it all is that Jacob, even at the same time, I want you to look at the fault in this, is that yes, even though Jacob ali wrestle na God na kashinda, one thing that Rebecca did was that she did not actually listen to God, because during her pregnancy, what did she do? She asked, okay, God, what is happening inside me? Then she said, nations are battling inside of you. Sindio? Mojata, yani the whole prophecy about it. You see, that was a submission to God. But now, time yenye blessings inafika, she actually now says, Jacob, when iskize. Usisikize God, when iskize. You see, but that's a fun fact. The thing that I'm looking at between the brothers, now this is, I think so tunafikia story ya trauma between siblings.
Yeah.
Is that, okay, even me personally, I've had sister wounds. Like, me my own sister ameniumiza.
Sorry. Hata mi brother yangu ameniumiza, but
exactly. Bado nampenda. Nampenda bure tu. Is that these people will stick to us until death do us part.
Yeah.
They will stick to us. Me kwanza, my sister loves hugs. And I'm like, I need my space. I need my space.
Love language yake ni touch.
Yes.
Oops,
she loves hugging.
Oops.
And anapenda kuni hug. Every time nikifika home, Sean.
And you just want to be left alone.
Yeah. Nimefika tu, then unasikianga tu sometimes. But then, Sean, why don't you love me? I'm like,
just because I don't hug back.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily. But the thing is that these people will stick to us. One way or another, they will, whatsoever they do. Wakuumize, wakatae kukupea pesa, they will still...
Kwanza ya kukata, yo. We'll repeat for the people who have not heard.
They will still stick very close. They will still stick very close. And kwa kesi ya Jacob and Esau, I think so this was more of spiritual than actually physical. Yeah. Because if these blessings were meant for Jacob, then God allowed it, you see. And that's how he got blessed. But one thing is that if you try to wrestle God, you'll start limping, the way Jacob did, you see. I mean, he did not wrestle with God and win, because he actually wrestled with God, and God allowed himself. You know what? You want to do it your way, do it. You see. But emotions, I can already kind of relate to Esau's emotions, because the very next prophecy that was, blessings that were given to Esau weren't really good. Yeah. Because yaliambiwa utakaa chini ya brother wako sasa. Imagine, like, you're the second ama when you last born. And now your brother anaambiwa atakuwa chini yako.
He'd hate it. Oh my God.
Exactly.
Hey.
Nika sasa sister yangu ambiwe uko chini yangu. Okay, sitasikia, okay, ninaweza sikia vizuri but
Obviously utasikia vizuri.
Utasikia vizuri,
Uko in a
but
point of privilege.
yeah, but Esau would have been heartbroken from then. Na akasema, you know what, mimi naenda kuwa brother yangu. Nitaanza kumtafuta. You see?
Yeah.
Alafu what did Rebecca do? Akamweka kwa ni camel ama ni farasi? I think so, what, donkeys? Ama you know what?
Hizo vitu alikuwa nazo.
Alienda tu, generally alienda.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one thing I can say is that siblings, sometimes you would never really understand what they do, especially if they're above you. You wouldn't really understand. And sometimes whatever they do can really hurt you in ways that probably you wouldn't even understand. And you'd be like, Kai, ni wewe ndio umesema hivi? Ni wewe ndio umefanya hivyo? My sister, my brother, you did this. And you'd be like, you know what, nimeyaka kwa roho. And there you've already bottled up a wound. There is a wound there is a scar.
Yeah.
You see. And these things are not very healthy for life, because now what happens is because of that wound, your major response would constantly be anger, would constantly be hatred, would constantly be friction. You see, anything that happens, friction. Lazima you guys argue, you guys say mean things, and words really hurt.
Yeah.
Words, they will really hurt. So, word of advice is that whenever you're angry, take time to steam off. Just take time to steam off before you say things that you really didn't mean. Because anger, the more you actually raise it, this other person will raise it twice. And then it will quadruple, it will go just like that. You see? Until ifike point yenye mtasema guy, tumeenda mbali. You see? So sibling rivalry or sibling wounds, they're there. Many of us have experienced. But it's also even up to us on how we respond to it. Because one thing I know from Jacob and Esau, I think so, well, they accepted each other in the end, if I'm not wrong. They did, yeah? They did. Yeah. So you see, there's still that whole aspect of acceptance, yeah? Acceptance that actually tracks back to now having a healthy relationship with your sibling.
Yeah, and also I feel like for siblings it's quite different. The dynamic
Nitakushika hapo.
the dynamic is very different, because sometimes I tell my brother, you know what, we are not siblings by choice, but we will be friends by choice. Because first, to be able to talk about stuff and actually come to a conclusion, it will take a lot. Just because you're siblings doesn't mean lazima tusikizane. But because you're my sibling and I've chosen you to be my friend in that particular setting, lazima tu tusikizane. Because what do you mean utaki kuosha vyombo na mimi nataka kuenda? I will just, it's
story of vyombo. They will break sibling relationships. Vyombo.
It's always the smallest things. Vyombo, ama hujafanya nini, ama uliacha nini wapi. And sometimes I get mad, but I'm like, hey, okay, maybe he had a valid reason to do whatever he did. Sometimes he valid, but be like, let me just try accommodate. Because I realize I'm someone who'd try accommodate what you're feeling and try to understand where you're coming from before I start shouting at you, oh, we hukufanya, because I don't like shouting, because I know when I shout, I will yap and say very mean things. So I just... But that dynamic is so different. So for Jacob and Esau, I feel like for them to eventually come to an understanding or even the process of the whole thing, of course it was hurtful. Esau felt really bad. I know if I put my brother there in his position, he'd be like, wow, oh damn. Like, sasa, why did she do that? It will never, I think it makes sense kwake. But you know what, may the will of the Lord be done.
Amen.
But kwa vyombo watu waoshe tafadhali. Kama ni siku ya kuosha tu.
Wewe osha tu.
Tusikuwa na trauma ya vyombo.
Kama wewe ni sibling unapenda kusumbua time ya vyombo.
Tuoshe tu vyombo.
Wewe osha. Usianze kusema ati wewe nimechoka.
Ati I'm sick. I'm sick.
Ati I'm sick.
Yeah, anyway. So also in the story of Jacob and Esau, or just generally in this topic of family trauma, it is important to forgive.
True.
because
Forgiveness.
if you do not forgive,
Forgiveness.
utakuwa unaangalia mtu ako like sasa unaule
Umse una try kusema na ulifanya hivi.
hata usi breathe the same air as me. Get
Toka
out
kwa
of
hii nyumba.
here.
Toka kwa hii nyumba.
So I feel like it's so important to forgive because as you said, these are people who will stick forever until
it's your first
death.
marriage basically.
Stop.
I'm being honest.
Usiseme hivyo. But yeah, I don't understand what you're saying. So if it was a friend, like just a friend, personally I'd be like, hey, let me take a big step back because she must.
Exactly. Yeah.
But since ni sibling, you know, this is someone who maybe if you're the last born and
I mean, your last born.
I have last born.
Yeah, me, I have last born tendencies.
So, for example, you and your sister, if something happens to you, your sister is probably...
She is going to be the first to respond.
Yeah,
true.
Okay, me as I answer, Jesus, but... And then I call my brother, but you know, this is someone who is... Alikuwa hapo ukiget born. Okay, maybe not in the exact room, but like the process. Unajua, I've never seen my mom pregnant. Last born.
Even me.
So sometimes I'm just like, what?
Kwanza jana niliitwa kifunga mimba. I'm like, gosh. Gosh.
That was so offensive.
To me it was like, it just came abrupt. Ati, unajua when kifunga mimba, I'm like,
kwani mlikuwa mmesumbuana jadi mtu anakuambia?
I don't know.
Okay, so what is the unique challenge faced by families addressing the family trauma and trying to heal these wounds?
I think the major, you said major issues, Indio?
Yeah, a unique challenge.
Oh, unique challenge is that I've often had this bright idea that my family could have been this and this.
Yeah.
You know? So one thing we tend to do is look outside our families, see how perfect other families are. Oh, story of family devotion. All these people have, you know, you can sense love just ease out through their family, and you see it's healthy. But we never really see what happened in the back. And one thing I do understand is that the unique thing about families is that all of them have different dynamics.
Yeah.
And one thing you have to do is understand these dynamics. If you actually don't understand, wanasemanga charity begins at home. Sindio? If you miss the chance of actually understanding your brother, your sister, your mom, your cousin, dad, or what, you miss a chance on actually understanding them. You miss out a whole lot, even I guess even being social outside. So the unique challenge is trying to understand the dynamic that your family has.
Yeah.
You see, if once you understand this dynamic, it becomes very easy to actually flow in that frequency. Yeah.
So, hey, you open up.
Open up. India nataka kusikia sasa.
Unataka tu kusikia story. Unataka tu kusikia story. But like even in healing, it will take time.
Yeah, it does take time.
And
it does take time.
I feel like time could be a challenge because sometimes one member of the family wants things to be done, like tuharakishe tusonge next, tuharakishe. Some are like, just slow down, let's take things slow.
Relax.
Because I mean, tuharakishe, let's wrap this up, let's just get this done. So I would say time would be my unique challenge because sometimes I'm like, you guys, because they are juicy, you guys let this thing happen, went ahead and did not tell me. Now I am finding out na mnakti kama sifai kukasirika.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then I didn't even tell anyone at give me time. I was like, ni sawa.
We move.
Sasa
what we like
about 8 years nikitumnataka nikasirike sasa nishakasirika nimemaliza. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, what steps do you think families should take to heal the wounds, the trauma, and just build a stronger family?
Okay, one thing that's majorly difficult for people to do is actually to speak these things out.
Yeah.
Like, for me to actually heal my sibling wounds, I had to take a leap of faith. I had to actually agree to the idea that God alinipe, you know what, ni masaya kuheal hii.
Yeah.
And I was unprepared. It happened so randomly. I was unprepared. I didn't even think about it. But God was like, ni leo.
It's today.
It is today. Today we are sorting this. Ni wewe mimi na sister yako. I was like, no.
Sweet. You
But
guys talked it out.
yeah, so I just told her, you know what? Twende. I didn't even, because it was probably to ensue to a very huge argument.
Yeah.
But then I was like, you know what? Ebu tunaweza ongea nyuma ya tent kidogo. And I just stayed there in silence and I just started talking. So
ukakuwa yapa.
yeah. So one thing you should do, and I think the very first step, is to let go of the anger, of the whole idea that you have been hurt. Yes, you have been hurt, but are you willing to actually let go of this hurt? So step 1 is actually to accept that you've been hurt. Then step 2 is actually talking to this person. Na umwambie enyewe umeniumiza. With whatsoever occasion that happened. Weka tu chini na umwambie, I felt this and I felt this and this is what caused me to actually feel this way. You see? Then after that, what my sister did was actually ask for an apology. But mi nilimwambia mi sitaki wewe useme sorry. Mi sitaki.
Mbona?
Mi nimekuambia lakini I don't want your apology. Mi niko tu sawa.
Pablo.
Imagine.
Jamani, unakata suri ya mtu.
But I know many people wouldn't want a sorry.
Okay, same.
But mi nili break down vile alisema sorry. And yeah, I hugged my sister in the end. So it's a matter of accepting and actually talking it out. Many people don't really want to talk it out, but actually stay there and actually talk it out. Even if it means locking both of you guys in a room, locking this person that amekumiza in a room and actually talking it out, even if it means mtapigana, but so long as these emotions come out. And the best way is to actually speak them out.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Hapo. Because personally, I can't speak with someone who has hurt me face to face.
Yeah.
Because I'll be like, oh, you did so. Hata utasikia kitu nasema.
Yeah.
So with my brother, I text him. Like namwambia by the way.
He's in the next room.
He's in the next room. I'm like, and then I lock my door so that asiingie.
Yeah.
I'm like, by the way, you did this and this in the morning. I felt like this.
Yeah.
Do it. Your information nikupatia, fanya vile unataka sasa. But usidamie pole.
Na unashtuka nikisema hivyo.
I think siblings are just meant to be difficult with each other.
Exactly.
Like, that's the love language. Difficulty to kusumbua.
Kusumbuana tu. That's the love language.
But I think it's amazing.
The step,
thank God for our siblings.
accept, then actually talk it out.
Yeah. So now, even when we switch to maybe the parents, so what do you think are the effects of family trauma just streaming from the parents down to what's the effect on the children or the adolescents in the house?
One thing you have to understand, and I think so I'll bring in this concept to you, is that your parents is their first time parenting. They've never been through this, you see. So this is also new territory to them. I know I also have a lot of mom wounds and dad wounds. I'm also trying to process that.
Yeah.
Hoping that God will help me heal them one day,
He
one
will.
time. But my best understanding is that parents also have their fair share of stress, emotions, and also parenting to actually handle all in a day-to-day time. You see, they would also need to take time aside from the stress that wamekuwa nayo kazi, wakuja wakai chini na wakusikie.
Yeah.
You see, even while you are a child, you are so eager to reach home now and be mom how your day was. You see, but she's not eager, or he's not eager to come home and tell you, by the way, I'm facing stress at work. You see, so one thing I understand about parenting and the trauma that parents trickle down to either their children is that one thing they have to understand is that we are also individuals that feel. We are individuals that have emotions. We tend to mess up. We tend to have emotions in the process. So I think the best way that parents need to also do is actually take time and also bond, like in different stages of life, be it young, teenage, and even youth. kaa chini na mtoto wako na umwambie, by the way, I'm really interested to know what he's going through in your life. You see?
Yeah.
And now one thing I know that I'd incorporate in my life is that, and even in my children's life, is that at every stage in their life, nitakuja tu and I'd sit down and I'd tell them, by the way, this is what I faced. This is what I went through. You see, if I open up to my kids, they would also be vulnerable enough to even say, by the way, Dad, I'm also going through going through so and so. So I think for parenting, it has to start from that whole aspect of, are you still willing to make an impact in your child's life? You see, one thing I do understand is that many parents come home tired and they expect food on the table and wako like, nitakula na niende kulala. You see, without even talking to their kids.
Yeah.
It has to actually start from making the home, is it the house a home?
Yeah, house a home.
The house a home, sindio? Because you are the one who is now the glue that will stick the family together.
Yeah.
So if you run out of stickiness, you will just slide, you see.
Yeah.
And your children will also slide the same way. Yeah.
One effect I've just thought about is the children will have a lot of resentment. Wow. Sometimes my friends open up to me and I'm like, wow, I'm sorry, but wow. Because, they'll just come for a listening ear. I don't know if I can really help, but I just want to hear you out because maybe there's no one else hearing you out. So most of the times I pick up resentment from these particular people and I just tell God like, wow, God, imagine if kila mtu angekuwa na perfect parents. Hata singewaambia hii story. Because sometimes I'm like, umeniambia, and it puts a burden in my heart.
Yeah,
I'm like, wow, aki hapana, you deserve
amekapitia.
better. I can't even say you deserve better. I don't even know your parents.
Plus, I also know that parenting shapes up people in very different ways.
Yeah.
And I think so another effect is
Trauma. Yeah.
That due to the trauma either caused by your mom or your dad, you actually now, like I said, build walls against other people. You see, be like the general term, men are the same. Or I don't want to say again. Yeah, but it builds up a lot of our foundations. Foundations. If you're not deeply rooted in Christ, your foundation is shaky.
Yeah.
If your foundation is built on the wounds that your parents have actually done, either them knowing or unknowingly put in you, it becomes, now it actually shapes your perspective about life.
Yeah.
That is also another effect. Parenting shapes your perspective of life. Because ulitoka home, haukutoka shule. You weren't born in school, you were born at home. Yeah, so whatever you will pick out from the house, utaipeleka nje. And that's what we see in the world today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, something I've seen is a lot of mental health issues just linked to family trauma.
Yeah.
Some friend of mine was saying, Ali, she tried to stop the brother from committing suicide. And I don't know. I felt so bad.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, is it this bad?
Yeah.
Then I know with people who have tried suicide, you really just can't handle them at hivo too.
Yeah.
Because it can happen again.
Yeah.
And then the parents will be like, oh, it's my fault. Oh, nini. And then if you take the same story to TikTok, people will be like, you were a parent, you did the right thing. Mtoto ako maybe just unruly or nini. I think people also misunderstand the family trauma because
True.
you can't be on the internet telling someone at your parents did good and you did bad by trying suicide,
Yeah.
Because they don't know you. Like they don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Before you start down, you're like, wow, maybe I can't take this anymore.
Plus, I think another issue is expectations from parents.
Yeah.
That puts a huge stress to a lot of children. That, unajua baba, I expect you to be this great person that I never was. You see, that is already an expectation you're putting in a child.
Because acha nikwambie tu yangu. Hey, during like my school life.
Yeah.
Like primary and high school. People used to tell me, hey, Nicole unapitanga sana. Like, uko iga fulani. I was like, no. Like, today in the morning, I was just telling someone.
Yeah.
I did not spit at you at academic validation or nini. I was terrified of my dad.
Yeah.
I was terrified. I was like, this person has paid money for you to read and expect to some
Yeah.
and expect to be president wa Kenya, tukue daktari. Thank God.
Amen.
Tutakuwa. Yeah, so I was very scared. I was like, wa. Mi mjui kitu ndaambiwa nyumbani, but wacha ridi tu na mimi nipite tafadhali. Hata just leave me alone because you don't understand.
Yeah.
And it was a lot. Even as we finished, it was a lot. Kabisa. And I was like, God, by the way, your time, if I had not known God your time and actually told him how I felt about the whole situation, I feel like tungesumbuana sana na my parents. I mean, it was for a good cause. I don't sikata, it was for a very good cause, and probably it paid off. Yeah, it paid off.
Okay, not probably, but it did.
Yeah, it did pay off.
Yeah, you're just refusing to accept it.
So when I think about it, I was like, leo tu asubuhi, I was like, if ningekuwa like whatever, I don't think I would have been where I am today.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win or a win-lose. Iko katikati, but mimi nilikuwa nimeshtuka. I was like, unajua mimi naweza shoutio, and then ukinishautia I'll just be like, sawa. Alafu unaanza tu kulia, and you'll be like, okay, why are you crying?
Yeah.
So
then there are those of us who are actually vichwa ngumu tulipigwa.
Heri wewe.
Ati heri sisi.
No, unajua, sometimes I was just saying, being a good kid is good, but
it's good.
I don't have an experience to tell anyone ati kuna siku nilienda sijui wapi na bike.
Okay, that was me. The minute nilirudi home,
I do not have an experience. So I was just like, okay, kwani fear? Hiyo fear ilikuwa mingi aje. And I even had to call my dad. I'm telling you, by the way, ulini traumatized. What did you do to me? And then he's like, I want the best for you. And it's true. They really do want the best for us. But I feel like there's a better way to approach the situation.
True.
So yeah. Uko sawa?
I feel this was not a show but a counseling session.
Ulikuwa therapy?
Ulikuwa therapy. I'm being honest.
Yeah, you need to pay me.
Nyuma ya tent.
Nyuma ya tent. Hizi vitu za nyuma.
I still need to release more. Nyuma ya tent.
Kwa sure. Kwani, how much do you have to unpack? Because labda sina fare ni utalipa.
Ni mob. Kama ni fare ni sawa.
Haya, sawa. Thank you so much for being with us today. That is all we had for you. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed, even Pablo.
I did.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was therapy.
Make sure to follow us on our social media pages on X, Instagram, Facebook, and also you can follow us at Citam YT Nation on YouTube.
Bas.
Yeah. Thank you and good night.